So welcome to beautiful Crummock Water. Again, no photographers here, which is never a bad thing. Looking at the forecast, it's been pretty much spot on, to be honest, in terms of the wind anyway. We've got this lovely calm water behind us, so probably going to get some really good reflection shots. I'm not too hopeful looking at the cloud, to be honest. The cloud looks a little bit lower than predicted, so I don't think we're going to get that sort of vibrant sunrise. But with a little bit of luck, the fell just off to my right, which is Melbrake, hopefully we might get some direct light hitting the side of that around about 30-40 minutes after sunrise, so we'll stick it out. But at the moment I'm just going to get started with the composition. I'm just going to have a little look about. The water level around the shoreline, again, really low, so a lot of the compositions I would normally shoot aren't really possible, but just going to keep it fairly flexible and see how it goes for now. Okay, so you'll see behind me I've got my shot set up. Can't even spit that out, I feel like Sean Connery. Too many shirt sounds. Got some lovely reflections behind it, so I'm keeping it pretty simple because I couldn't really find an awful lot along the shoreline in terms of foreground composition. So we've gone for, well, we're at about 50mm, and I felt that was a better focal length because it's easy to fall into the trap when you've got these big wide vistas of reflections to shoot them too wide. And when I started with the 16-35 on, everything was looking a little small, so I've gone in a little tighter. The mountain in the sort of mid-distance there is, well, you call it a mountain, it's more of a hill, to be honest. Ranadale Knots, that's on about the sort of top left third, and that's going to be my focal point. So yeah, keeping it fairly simple. Hopefully that light that I talked about might get through a bit later. We're getting a little bit of colour in the sky, but it's, you know, it's nothing dramatic. But still, this should be a pretty nice shot, I think. Okay, so I've just switched out onto the Wii Osmo Action because I was in a bit of a rush there. You vloggers, I don't know how you manage all this kit. I was vlogging before on the A6400, but the lights just got out onto the top of the high style ridge that you can just see behind me there, so I've just had to quickly get a shot of that. I'll just show you that now. I mean, it's not going to win any awards, that's for sure, but it's bloody nice down here, it really is. It's such an underrated place. I think I was saying in the car before that, you know, it doesn't get a lot of photographers really, which is really strange, because for me, I think the view, you know, that view there looking straight up the lake is as good as any in the lakes really. But yeah, got it to myself, can't complain. I think what I'm going to do, I've been saying I'm going to wait it out. I've been waiting here for quite a while. I've got some pretty good, well, I'm saying pretty good, you can be the judge of that. I'm not going to sit and tell you the great shots, but I've got a couple of shots there. I think when this light eventually gets through, I'll get what I need, and then I'm going to head round. I'll just spin you round a little bit. I'm just going to head over to the woods, because if the light gets through and penetrates some of the woodland over there, I think there's some nice shots to be had. I'm certainly no woodland photographer. I'm not one of these on here that touts themselves as a woodland photographer, but I do certainly enjoy it, so I might have a little go at that later. Okay, so one thing I did do there, which I'm really terrible for remembering to do, is took a panoramic shot. Now the big wide vista with the reflections really suits that sort of format anyway. But one thing that I always try and do when I'm out in the field now, especially, if you watch my channel introduction, I mentioned that I run a gallery in Keswick. And one of the things that customers are always asking for is big panoramic images, which when I first opened the gallery kind of caught me off guard a little bit, because panoramic format images aren't really the sort of thing I tend to shoot a lot. But now when I'm out in the field, what I always have to remember to tell myself is, if there's a panoramic shot available, make sure you get one in case. So what I'm doing now is getting one. Right, I think I've shot that scene to death, to be honest. There's only so many reflections you can shoot. Just have to be careful here, just a sec. Down. A couple of little bridges down this end of the weir at Crummock Water. Lovely, lovely area, it really is. One thing I'm finding with this vlogging lark is, just trying to take my head off there. Film enough B-roll. How do people feel about B-roll? Coming from a very much a sort of stills background, I'm always worried I'm filming enough B-roll, and is it really relevant? So yeah, bit of a tricky one. I'm just heading into that woodland that I was, well, it's saying woodland, it's only a little patch of woods, but I'm just heading into there now. Just gonna have a little look and see what I can find. I don't think the light's really going to get through, or certainly by the time it does, it's going to be a bit late and a bit harsh. But it's been a good morning. Got a couple of nice images. I'll post them up. Well, if I haven't already posted them up, I'll post them up at the end. But yeah, I'll just spin you around. Just one sec. So you can see here some lovely twisty shapes in these trees. So I'm just gonna have a scout about, probably get the 70-300 telephoto lens on and try and isolate something interesting. Right, I've had a little wander about. Tough to find something in here, to be honest. It's one of these little patches of trees where, you know, when you first look at it, it looks really attractive, but it's really hard to find a composition. Now, I'm not really sure this is going to work, but what I've framed up behind me, I'll just show you in the camera at the moment, is this line of trees here. Now I'm shooting it at about 50mm. I've got the polarizer on, just to sort of saturate those spring greens in the trees. And you know, even though we're not getting that really strong light, we're getting some nice sort of softer light, which is sort of more complementary to the scene, I think. But I've also, you might notice in the far distance, I've got the boathouse framed up between a couple of the trees. Now, as I say, might not work, but yeah, you gotta have a go, haven't you? Okay, now we're talking. Now we've got some light. I think this shot's gonna probably work now. Actually, I'm no woodland expert by any stretch of the imagination, but yeah, pretty pleased with this. I mean, we won't know until we get it back in post and process it, but I'm pretty hopeful. One thing I'm aware of that there's not an awful lot I can do about it. I've tried different compositions to get rid of it, but they don't seem to work as well. Is this big log that'll probably be in the bottom left hand corner of the frame. I'll just spin you around so you can see it. Now I'll probably keep it, to be honest. I won't clone it out. I'm not a massive fan of cloning, but I don't think it detracts too much from the composition, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But after this, I think I'll have a little wander about and see if I can find anything else. But if I don't, it's been a really good morning, to be honest, because the forecast was a bit, you know, it was good last night, but when I got here, it became pretty apparent it was a bit of a 50-50 one. But if I don't get anything else, yeah, you know, it's been a good morning. And if you like this stuff and you like seeing, you know, more content from the Lake District, please consider subscribing. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one.